Welcome along to EXFL Tier 2 Season 13. We are here for round 1 out of 20. It's a new era, a new dawn for the league as we move on to the next generation of cars. The last 8 seasons or so with the ground effects has come to an end all the way from Season 5 to last season in Season 12. And we've had a bit of an off season where we've had quite a few changes. But we are back down under for round 1 in Melbourne as qualifying is underway. So we have 18 drivers at the moment, still awaiting for 2 more, Christian and Gareth. So as the cars take to the track then for the first time. So, we'll run you through the order. We had a social race last week for the first time in quite a few years. So, a few of the grid members have already been established, but I'll go through them again. Hope you're all enjoying, going to enjoy the stream and the season to come. It should be a fascinating one. We've got a few new faces, a few familiar faces, and quite a few changes throughout the grid. So, starting off, we have Jack in the RB, moving from Ferrari last season. He joined just past the halfway stage at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix about a couple months ago. So yeah, he's in the RB. We'll be hoping to get some more points on the board this season, make his way further up. We have Sasha, who joined the league as there's Gareth, who also joined the league towards the end of last season. He is partnering Jack at RB, so that's great. And Sasha, who joined the league literally an hour or two ago, reserving in the Haas. So another debutant today, quite a few actually, as he's crossing the line. We should maybe see Sasha up there, depending. It'll obviously depend on a few factors and whatnot. But yeah, he's reserving in the Haas, as both Haas drivers are not racing today, Stepan and Adam. Hopefully they'll be back next week. We've got Yannick racing in the new 11th team in EXFL, the first ever 11th team in the league's history, the Cadillac. And what a great driver to have in that white and black livery for Tier 2. As throughout pre-season, throughout all the off-season, Yannick has been showing himself to be a very promising contender for this season's championship. As he's just backing off on his outlap, letting the Ferrari, I think, go through. So yeah, promising stuff from the off-season and pre-season races from Yannick, so we'll see what he can do. 4th in the standings last season, won, I think, most improved driver in the awards as well. So we'll see what he can do. We got Martin, a new debutant as well. He was the one who got Sasha in the league, and we should be expecting another friend of his called Toby to join next week. And Martin said Sasha is give or take around his pace, but Martin was actually quite impressive in the social race last week. If it wasn't for speeding in the pit lane twice, he very well could have won. So it's great to see a new debutant right up there in Aston Martin at the moment. So that's great to see, as Cookster has set the benchmark. He'll be looking, as that was a bit close with the Cadillac there, he'll be looking to maintain his performance from last season, kind of best of the rest, to push himself towards those first podiums and poles and maybe even a win, who knows. As we got Eggy returning once again with the Mercedes outfit. He's stuck with that team as the most races with a single team, 59. This will be his 60th race for Mercedes. German driver, German team. And right behind him is second in that list. Cal has returned to McLaren like we saw quite a few years ago, and he is second on that list. 3 races behind Eggy with 56. This will be his 57th for the Papaya. As you can see, everyone else beginning to do their laps quite close to the top. Dello has moved to Red Bull, or technically he's back from Red Bull, trying to complete this full season, as he didn't quite do that last season. Left for a few races, rejoined. It was a bit on and off with the Ferrari and the Red Bull, but he's here at Red Bull because the Red Bull was the most asked for team, as we can see. Fastest lap after fastest lap. Cooks to Dello. Grush, who has stayed at McLaren for another season. 3rd in the standings last season. 2nd at the moment. But Yannick is the one who has set the benchmark of an 18.2 to be nearly 2.5 tenths clear of the orange papaya cart. There's Eggy's dropped to 5th, and Callum has moved to the new rebranded team from Sauber to Audi. He, along with Poisonous Gold, or Louis, are in the new silver, black and red. So he's P6 at the moment. Top Lobster and Iowa Fnatic have moved together from being teammates at Haas, being one of the strongest pairings last season. They've both moved to Williams for this season. So we'll see how that goes as Martin goes up to P3 there. So good stuff from the Aston Martin. And the Eagle Eye viewer, like I said last week, may have noticed that Martin's teammate is a familiar face to those who have been in the league for quite a while. Branko, or Sure, should I say, one of the OGs of the league, has returned after 2 years out. He is finally back, but for the first time in Tier 2. He spent the first 10 seasons racing in Tier 1. It was great to see, but now we'll see what he can do. He's still in the pit lane, one of 4 yet to set a lap time. So yeah, Yannick coming around the final corner. Looks like he's going to start another lap. So we'll ride on board with the Cadillac and see what the battery's like. Because obviously, again, these new cars are going to be so important with battery. 50-50 between engine and boosting. And luckily the yellow's not affecting the blue turning to yellow quite yet. But he's got quite a bit of traffic in front of him. But they're all abiding to the blue flags, I guess. Through turn 4 and 5. Easy flat. Again, another car in front of him. I believe that's the Haas. He's up by 2.5 tenths as Yannick, as Cookster improved to be just over a tenth behind. The Haas is not getting out of the way. And that is not a great start. And who is that Haas? Is that Sasha? It is Sasha. So not the greatest first impressions in qualifying, as that is pretty much impeded Yannick. But he's still up by 2 tenths, even after that incursion from the Haas. Yannick out of battery then, as he starts sector 3. So Yannick really showing to be a great favourite. 1 pole to his name in Vegas last season. Of course, Vegas isn't on the calendar this season. We've had some changes to it. We're bringing back China, which is next week. As Grush goes ahead by 9 thousandths, but you think that'll be short-lived as Yannick has 1 corner to go. Blasts his battery to the line. He's looking confident. He's looking set. And he's looking to take provisional pole back ahead of Grush. Yannick crosses the line, but he doesn't, actually. He lost so much time in that last sector. 4 tenths overall. So Grush, at the moment, stays on provisional pole. As across the line is Alex, the Season 9 P4 man, who was fighting for the Season X P4 man, who was fighting for the championship, went to Tier 1 for a season or so, and has returned for Ferrari. Currently goes P6, so he's throwing his hat in the ring of contenders. That top 7 looking very close for contention, and usually in Tier 2, however close quali is, the race is even closer. So if 9 thousandths separate Grush and Yannick, who knows what's to come, but we know Yannick has at least a quarter of a second in hand from that first half of the lap. So yeah, Grush, Yannick, Cookster, Martin, Dello, Alex, Eggy, Callum, Sasha still in the top 10. But, well, Yannick's not going to be too happy with the Haas driver, as Cal is rounding out the top 10 at the moment. Toby just outside of it. Louis, then the 2 RBs, then Fnatic, just getting his runs 1 by 1. And we should expect a proper run from him right at the end. We got Aaron. You may have noticed last season, that gamer tag being familiar. He joined a lot of the lobbies, but didn't actually race. So now he's here, making his debut to make him the 3rd driver making their debut today. Martin, Sasha, and Aaron reserving in the Haas. And then we have Bluey also reserving in the Alpine, once again with Nathan as teammates. So that's great to see. Nathan has moved to Alpine from Sauber just before they rebranded as Audi. Nathan and Warren, who's not racing today, are the Alpine lineup. So they are the most experienced Tier 2 lineup. Nathan with over 100 races, Warren close to 100 races. And then, yes, of course, there he is. Sure, Branko, 19th at the moment, still not set a lap yet. But right now, it's just great to see him back. So, there was a change. I think someone just improved their position. I don't know. Obviously, Sasha's been demoted. I think, yeah, Cal went up to 9th and demoted Sasha to 10th. There goes Callum up to 5th to put his Audi into the top 5. Martin currently finishing a first set split. 4 and a bit tenths up in P4. So he's definitely pushing that Aston Martin around the streets. As Yannick and Grush are in the pits. Cook's on another outlap. So Martin definitely looking to fight for this pole, and he'll finish the middle sector split. He's found another couple hundredths, darting his way through the fast chicane there. Callum down in the first sector after finishing a lap. Dello right on the limit there through the first couple corners. We'll carry on with Martin. Eggy's gone up to P4 while all that was happening. It looks like these guys, the RB right in front of him, is going to be a real eyesore and may even impede him, but there's some lag going on. But now gets out of the way, so that's going to hurt Martin's chances of completing this amazing lap. He could lose some time, but he'll still keep the momentum. And you'd think this should put him to the top, but we know how Yannick went in his lap, and we know how Martin's gone with his lap. It's not enough. He has lost quite a bit of time at the end there, and he loses it. And he hits the wall, but he'll get away with it, just brushing it. No visible damage, but that's surely going to upset him that the RB was there. So we know Yannick's got a quarter of a second in hand. We know Martin's got a quarter of a second in hand. And they both are number 13, I've just realised. So, yeah, close stuff. 2 thousandths ahead of Cookstoos, 15 thousandths down, and getting a nice slipstream from the Williams just in front. I don't know if he sees him. He's trying to get out of the way. Keeps to the left. Don't know if that was Toby or Fnatic, but look at that. Cookster, quarter of a second up. So close to track limits as he blasts all his battery now downhill into the 90-degree right-hander. Takes it pretty nicely. Bit wide, though, and he loses the car as he dips the rear wheels into the gravel, and that is his lap done. And now that's a third driver in the top 4 that have a quarter of a second in hand, but it's just the last sector that they keep losing it or they get impeded. So Grush has to watch his back there, and he has to hope he also has some time in hand. But this is a very close qualifying session. What about Cookster's teammate, Alex, who takes the exit much better than what Cookster did? Alex, who said he's trying to redo or carry on what Robert Kubica did, but he's going into the pit lane now. Does the Polish driver, as sure managed to set a lap time of P11, so just outside the top 10. Had a Jack, Toby, Fnatic still out there setting lap times, and it looks like Alpine are 18th and 19th. You may notice there is someone missing, a key name from last season. And if you didn't know, they are still here. But unfortunately, Samurai will not be racing the first round. He will be back next week. He is partnering Dello at Red Bull. So he's gone from Williams for 2 seasons, fighting for the championship, just missing out last season, to moving to Red Bull as Christian's joined. That's great to see. He had an update, but his Wi-Fi was taking forever. Christian joining Eggy at Mercedes. Finally, he's been wanting to do that for quite a few seasons and finally gets his chance. So that'll be 20 people. So yeah, the 2 spaces we don't have is a Red Bull and I don't actually know what the other space would be. Out now. Haas, Williams, Aston. Is it Cadillac? Oh, it's Cadillac. Yeah. Yeah, Charlie is partnering Yannick, who didn't race too much, at least in the second half of last season, but he's back because he likes these cars. But he's at Silverstone this weekend, so we should expect Charlie back next week. So yeah, Samurai, we miss him for this week, but hopefully he'll be back. Well, he will be back next week, and he'll get his campaign underway. For now, it's just the sole Red Bull down in 7th as Christian. There he is, to make it 20 people for the first race of the season. And now, if this was last season, we'd be thinking, oh great, full grid. And to be fair, last season, the first 4 races, we did have 20, 20, 20, 20, which was amazing. But this, for the first time ever, isn't a full grid. Obviously 22 now. I mean, we've never had more than 20, so whenever that happens will be great to see. The only annoying thing as a streamer and commentating this, to spectate this, if we have 22 people, the 22nd person actually overlaps the bottom left logo, which is slightly annoying, but that's just a pet peeve. We have under 4 minutes to go then, as Grush begins his next run. The car's in front, getting out the way, diving into turn 1. It's unfazed from the papaya. And we'll see what he can do. Grush, who spent so many qualifyings last season at the front, getting quite a few poles to his name, usually doing the 2 runs right at the end. He very much like doing that, and considering we still have 3.5 minutes, I'm pretty sure that's what he will be doing. So let's see how committed Grush is on this first run of 2. First sector split, there is 2 and a bit tenths of improvement. So that's showing that all 4 of these guys in the top 4 have what it takes to fight for pole position. So Grush blasting down to 16%, now saving the battery towards the end of the straight. Middle sector split, has he found a bit more time? He's actually lost a few hundredths, but he keeps it dialed in through the fast chicane. Keeps it well within the confines of the racetrack, darting down to the end of the straight, all the way down to 0. Riding on board into the 90-degree tricky right-hand corner, but he takes that very nicely indeed. Flat through the third last corner. 2 to go. Watch your braking on the apex. Don't hit the red inside. Flat as early as possible. As soon as you're 100%, burn the rest of your battery. Power mode on, or straight mode, to the line, and we'll see what Grush can do as an improvement. Crosses the line. We're into the 1 minute 17s as Grush puts some daylight between Yannick, Martin, and Cookster. Now we see who can respond. Yannick, turn 3, sector 1, as he's just getting past the Audi, who lets him go. We know Yannick's got some time in hand. Martin's still in the pit lane with just over 2 minutes to go. But Yannick, first sector split then. Nearly 2/10 up of improvement. So game on at the front. Grush and Yannick, who were fighting for 3rd and 4th last season. Obviously, Oren, the champion from last season, has gone up to Tier 1. Samurai, not racing today. So that leaves these two at the moment at the front. Yannick, middle sector split. He's actually lost a bit there. But look how much battery he has for the final sector. This is certainly going to help him out. But yeah, he needs the redemption of the final sector. Remember, he got impeded on the last run he did. Absolutely flying as that Cadillac. Wouldn't Cadillac love, on their debut in Tier 2, to be on pole position? Wouldn't Yannick love to start the season on pole position? Grush was the winner of the opening round last season. Yannick is taking the fight to him. Straight mode on. Blast the rest of his battery. Can Yannick beat Grush? Across the line for Yannick. He's missed out by nearly a 1/10 and a half. So Grush still ahead, and he's going one more time. Yannick, I don't believe, can go for one more. So Yannick will not be on pole. Martin will be about to start his outlap. Cookster's up by nearly 2.5 tenths. So he needs that last sector to go well. Remember, this was the corner he spun at as Bluey's retired. This time it's a lot better from the Ferrari. Cookster, who tried time and time again last season to get that first pole. He came close, and then towards the end he either got impeded or just wasn't enough. He's come here in season 13 to try and bounce back. It's already looking pretty good for the Ferrari, but can he start the season on pole position? 17.9 is the time to beat, and he can't quite do it, and he's 3rd at the moment. So now we await to see what the Aston can do. Can Grush go any quicker? What about Eggy? What about Callum? It's anyone's game at the moment. Callum's up by a few tenths as well. Dello, first sector split. As across the line, that was Louis going P12, I believe. What about Alex? Up by 2 tenths in the first. Just slightly down in the middle. Grush, final sector split. Who's coming across the line? We've got an influx of cars. The Williams starting their final runs. And some of the Alpines as well. Aaron's done in 15th. Bluey's done in 19th. Christian's going one more time. Grush is up by a huge amount in the middle sector. This looks like Grush is to lose at the moment. Round the final corner for the McLaren, who's been absolutely on it as Callum went 3rd. Grush crosses the line, and it's going to be a 17.7 to be on pole position. That's going to take some beating as Alex goes ahead of his teammate to be P4 by 9 thousandths of Cookster. But we await to see what Martin can do. We know there's a lot of time left in the pocket for the debutant. A friend of Sher, who's finished in 11th at the moment. Sasha is P10. Dello goes to the front row by a couple hundredths ahead of Yannick, but it could be Martin displacing him. Could Martin displace Grush from pole? Is it Grush or Martin across the line? He actually lost a lot of time at the end there. So Martin on debut will only be 7th. Eggy, he's slightly down in the first sector. Cal has slowed, but he's in the top 10 for now. Eggy across the line. Will he find that much of improvement from P8? He'll cross the line and he'll stay P8. So has anyone got anything left? Don't discount the Williams. Here they come. As Dubs goes 16th. Toby goes to P7. What about Fnatic? He's only 10th. So both Williams get into the top 10, but that is not really, I'm sure, where they would have been expecting to be. So I believe that's everyone done. Louis on a slow lap. So that is it. Grush has done it by 3.5 tenths. Has taken the opening pole of the season. Bravo to the Papaya. Dello will join him on the front row. Good lap in the end there. Yannick 3rd. Callum 4th. Ferrari 5th and 6th. So 17.7 pole. Tier 1 pole yesterday was a 16.6. So Tier 1 is always about a second quicker than Tier 2, and that's carrying on at the moment. So that's good to see. But the only man into the 17s, absolutely dialed in at the end there. So great stuff from Grush. Looks like you got that lap all dialed in, all together. So yeah, it's a all British front row, then a Dutch and Scottish second row, then a Polish and Spanish third row. Back to British with a German 8th and 9th, Martin on debut 8th, Sasha on debut 13th, and Aaron on debut a bit towards the back. But yeah, what a exciting qualifying that was. A lot of swaps here and there, twists and turns. And it's always exciting to see the first quali of the season. It really does set the tone of what's going to happen for a lot to come, and see where everyone's going to place. But of course, it's one track, it's one qualifying. There could still be changes. But we've got the main event, 29 laps ahead of us, and a formation lap to build us to the start. And can Grush set off and repeat what he did last season by winning the opening round? But this time round, I'm sure Grush will be making his way even higher for this season. He joined a year ago, finished 8th or 9th in the standings last season, 3rd. I'm sure this season he'll be having his eye on that championship. He's been one of the most excited to start this season, and we can clearly see why now. Starting it very well with a pole. The question is, can he convert it? We'll wait for those ticking noises after the drivers have confirmed their setups, strategies, fuel loads, which is going to be very different. You'd expect to see quite a lot more yellow lights from those wanting to lift and be strategical with their fuel, and with it being tier 2, there could be a safety car or whatnot. But to be honest, last season, there was a genuine streak of, I think, 12 or 13 races where we did not see a single safety car. From round 7 of Italy to the final race in Brazil of round 20, that was the last 2 safety cars we had. So we'll see how it unfolds. But first off, let's see what tyres everyone has chosen. Formation lap time then. Everyone on the mediums, apart from the 7th row of Sasha and Shirt, deciding to start on the hard compound tyres. So they'll be going long into the race, but everyone else going safe. So carrying outside the top 10, Cow did get demoted in the end there, 2P11, Jack alongside him. And then Sasha on debut in 13th, Shirt on return. But for tier 2 debut, I guess, we have 4 debutants in P14. Then Louis 15th. Christian managed to get up to 16th in the end there after joining late. Then the 2 IOR members of Dubs and Aaron on the 9th row. And then it's an all-Alpine 10th row of Nathan and Bluey. So, McLaren versus Red Bull. Off the start, Dello, a year ago, didn't exactly have the greatest lap 1. I think we had 12 people that day, and he didn't even make it past the second corner. He got spun, and he got taken out. And that was the start of his season, very much ruined. So he'll be hoping for a lot better. I believe, actually, the last time Grush and Dello started on the front row together was Hungary last season, 10 races ago or so. And that also didn't exactly end well with Dello. Well, no, actually it was the opposite. It didn't end well for Grush, because at turn 1, Dello lost the car and hit Grush around, and Grush spent the whole race climbing back up just to finish 11th and miss out on points by about a 10th. So you'd hope, considering it's the start of the season, Grush and Dello and everyone make their way through the first couple corners unscathed. What can Yannick do from 3rd? He showed a lot of promise. I believe the thing he has to work on the most is that mid-race race pace. He can stick with people. It just depends how well he can make his way through. Callum, a very respectable 4th, trying to go higher than he did last season. He spent a lot of last season kind of in the shadow of Oren. Now it's his turn to take his fight to the top. What can Ferrari do from 5th and 6th? Toby, it's an impressive qualifying against Fnatic ahead of him. And then Martin on debut, what can he do from 8th? He's got some good pace. And what can Eggy do from 9th? That is the top 10. And the 10 to follow will be trying to get into the points. But here we go then. The brand new era of EXFL Tier 2 begins right here, right now. lights out, and away we go down under. Grush versus Dello into turn one, as there's a lot of swapping going on behind. The Ferraris haven't had a great start, but Grush has single file into turn one. Goes Grush, Dello, Yannick, Callum stay the top four. Toby's up 2 places, as it looks like Alex has managed to maintain his place. What a start from Cal up to 7th, and Sash up to 8th, and Christian up to 9th from 15th, as the 2 Mercedes are fighting away for the final points paying position. Martin is in 9th, as we see a car in the background going off. That was probably Bluey, as Cookster's had an awful start, as Bluey's retired from the race, as there's Sher up a place, Louis up a place, Jack down a few places, Fnatic is down multiple places, as Aaron has dropped to last as well. But Grush leads them out then. Dello closing up to the back of the Papaya rear wing, but for now they're still single file, as Cal making another move, making it both McLarens in the top 6. What an opening lap this has been from Cal, but Alex is not done with him, and he pulls to the left. Papaya versus Scarlet Red, but Cal to the inside, looks like he has it. Alex is still going to fight this one. Round the outside goes Alex. What a move from the Ferrari to get back up in a P6. As Christian's dropping back down the places now, as he's fighting away with Louis, promoting Cookster back into 10th, Eggy up to 9th. We finished the first lap of the race of the season then. Biggest gainer, it's Cal and Christian up 4 places. Good for them, but Grush got exactly what he needed to do there and continues to lead. Let's enable everything else then. Absolutely no battery for Grush, and could we see a change of leadership into turn 3? Not quite, but Grush is going to be quite vulnerable as we head onto the longest straight on the track. But as for now, the top 4 stay as they are. Toby, great start for him into the top 5. He definitely needed that. The first quarter or half of the season, Toby really did shine, but the second half fell away from him as his teammate took the spotlight. Toby wants to start this season off right, and right now he's doing that, as there is a change of leadership. Dello, it was always going to happen, and could Yannick also try and get ahead of Grush? For now, he's saving his battery. Grush can't do much. Dello then on lap 2 becomes the new leader of the Australian Grand Prix. And can he pull away from Grush now? Grush is going to try and fight this back, but Dello's got the battery, or he did have the battery, but look how quickly he's depleted it. You can hear the lifting from Yannick as he's staying in that fight. Cal staying ahead of Martin for now. So it looks like Cal is kind of like Christian. He's got the work done at the start. Very great at the getaway, but now he's trying to hold his position, and looks like the top 6 are pulling away. So Dello will now lead at the end of lap 2. And with the 25 cars, we saw 3rd was a horrible place to be in a train. Now it might even be the best place, because you let the top 2 blast all their battery, burn it all fighting, and then 3rd can just pick up the pieces, and we'll see if that carries on. But any one of these top 6 could win today. As there we see Cal has dropped down the order slightly. He's behind Martin, he's behind Eggy, now he's behind Cookster. So that's quite interesting. Christian fighting away with Fnatic, who's going to be on a bit of a comeback charge, as it seems, for today. Sher fighting away in 15th there, as round the outside and tagging the wall goes Nathan all over the back of Louis. We cut to the front then. Dello has nothing. Grush has nothing. Yannick just about has something, but he's not deciding to overtake these two. He's deciding to lift and save his battery. Callum is being overtaken by Toby, making another great move. Goes the Williams up in a 4th now. He's got very little battery though, but so has Callum, but he's going to blast it to try and get back in a 4th. The Audi versus the Williams round the outside. Toby breaks deep, and that manages to hold on to the position. Good stuff from the Williams. We see in the background Cookster trying to make his way back through the field on what he lost, as we still don't really know what happened to him, but he's fighting away with Martin, and he's got the move done. Ferrari liked that little section of track, and he's got back up into 8th. So Fnatic ahead of Christian, up into 12th now, as we see the top 2 diving into turn 1 there. Dello versus Grush. Dello goes off the track. Grush regains the lead, and here comes Yannick to make it nearly 3 wide. Yannick's got nowhere to go. He moves right, he moves left. Dello back in the lead. Grush loses the lead and loses P2 within the span of 1 straight. So Yannick's back up in a 2nd. Dello momentarily lost the lead, but he's got it back. What a fight with the top 3. And then the 3 behind, as looks like Drifting's just hanging on for now with these 2. But Toby's feeling racy as he's climbing his way up the order, and he spies a podium, maybe even more, as we're only on lap 4 of the race. 0, 3, 2. 3, 5, 0. They're all blasting absolutely everything. Game on at the start of the season. 3 wide into the fast chicane. Toby hangs on ahead of Callum, and Alex just has to watch his front wing as that was very close to the wall. Action everywhere you look as Callum has to hold on, but they are giving it absolutely everything. No concern for battery management throughout that section of the track. Now they all save. As you may have noticed there, Dello has a yellow light. Dello, who won the social race last week after excellent tyre management, making the one-stop work around Austria after a chasing Yannick closed up to him right at the end. And this was the gap when they crossed the line, really. But now they are 1-2 for real when it actually counts in the race. So Grush falling a bit behind. And was it Grush or Dello? I actually forgot who went off and may have got a warning at turn 2. But let's change it to penalties there. So, wow. If the season's like that, then bring it on. As Alex has dipped his wheel into the grass there. And now he could lose time from those two who are over a second behind the top 3. As look at that. Look at Eggy and Cookster. They've got past Martin. So Eggy making his way up through the order as well. As there's a huge train from Cal all the way down to Christian. There we see Grush making a move on Yannick for P2. Blasting his way past. But he might be a bit vulnerable as Louis gets the first 3-second time penalty. Dello 14, Grush 22, Yannick 40. As Toby has nothing, Callum barely has anything. Same with Alex, he's going to have to struggle here a bit to try and close back in as Cookster fights away with Eggy. So Ferrari, who were 5th and 6th, are now 6th and 7th. They've managed to undo a bit of the damage at the start. Eggy still fighting away. It's Mercedes versus Ferrari. Eggy back to the inside, shuts the door on the Ferrari to be back into P7. And Cal doing his absolute best to hang on to this final points-paying position as we see Fnatic on the mediums against Sasha on the hards, round the outside. Great move for the Williams to get himself into P11. It should be around this lap where the hards start to become a little bit better, though. As that might be a warning for Eggy, as he was very deep into turn 1. As we can see, Cookster all over the back of the Mercedes as he's deciding not to blast, and that's left him vulnerable to the Ferrari and maybe the Aston as Martin ran the outside. German v German and can't quite get the move done. As in the background, Cow under pressure from Fnatic, getting his elbows out. Fnatic is up into the points now. So Alex doesn't have the blue, and he's going to really struggle to get back in a second here. As well, Callum's on 0. But Toby should be able to pull away a little as Grush overtook Yannick on the last lap here. Could he be trying to move on Dello? Not quite close enough for it. But with the Dirty Air Limited and Slipstream has returned, he spies an opportunity to the inside. Dello doesn't fight it too much, and Grush has retaken the lead on lap 6 of the Australian Grand Prix. Ahead of Dello, fighting, swapping, everywhere you look for the lead. And hopefully he'll carry on for the rest of the race. Toby, after making a great first impression in the first few laps of this race, has slowly just halted back a little on the top 3. Alex still in the yellow. Cookster still holding his own against Martin. Eggy has obviously dropped down a bit, seeing more swaps everywhere you look. And there's Toby getting all out of shape. That puts Callum all over the back of him, blasting what's left of his battery. But Toby has it covered on the Audi. What a great race we have unfolding. There's an incident between Callum and did Callum just make a mistake? Because he's got right end plate damage as well. He's missing it. So I don't think Callum was close enough to Toby to have an incident. Callum just lost it. Has he made a mistake on his own, or it's either with Toby? Either way, that's promoted Alex up into 5th now. I think back where he started, along with Cookster, and Ferrari could reclaim their 5th and 6th from where they started. Because Callum's going to have such bad understeer through these corners, and he's going to really struggle. He's under big pressure as Sasha gets a time pen. There goes Cookster around the outside, trying to do what drifting did on lap 1. As down the inside goes the Aston as well to maximise his opportunity of getting ahead of Callum. I thought he was going straight into Cookster there, but Ferrari are back up in a 5th and 6th. Good for them. As, is Callum going to pit? He will. No, he won't! Well, yes, he will. Nice lag. So Callum's into the pit lane then, and this might have to be a 2-stop for the Audi. Very unfortunate after he was running very nicely in P5. So that promotes Cal back up into the points, and Fnatic up 1 place higher into P9. but he's got a gap to chase down of Eggy, Martin and Cookster fighting away. Alex not too far behind Toby, who, well, you can see he's struggling. It was 1.8, now it's 3.3. Letting the top three be the top three, fighting away for this Australian Grand Prix. And could these three be the three of this season? Of course, we can't forget about Samurai as well, as he did beat all of these three last season. So we'll wait to see him next week in China. But for now, in Australia, this is the biggest opportunity they can get to get some distance between them and those rivals who aren't racing in round one. Samurai did just that a year ago on his debut here at Australia in season 11. For now, Grush holding his nerve at the moment in P1. Holding his position well. Pretty equidistant between Toby to drifting to Cookster. As Christian now gets a time pen. So that's 4 people outside the top 10 with that. So we start lap 9. The pit stops should be emerging anywhere from lap 10 to about lap 14. We know Fnatic will probably go long, but it should just be a simple one stop. Medium, hard, hard, medium. So, after a very exciting first 8 or so laps, it looks like this is the calm stage now. Before the storm, of course, when the pit stops emerge as Eggy fights away with Martin, who loses the car there slightly. And, well, I'm not saying I'm definitely not going to use the word disappointed, but I think there's some missed promise here from Martin. Even though it's his debut, he was showing real winning pace. As going deep there is Sasha trying to get past Cal. Cal goes round the outside, wheel banging. Sasha hits Cal nearly off the track there, but he manages to hold on to the position as these 4 fight away for the final points paying position as Cal is under pressure from Jack. As we see for the lead, barely anything in between Grush and Dello. Down into the fast chicane. Side by side. Dello now gets into the lead and just manages to keep it within the confines. Brave stuff from the Red Bull there. Swapping this way and that. Dello back in front of Grush. As, look at that. Cookster's close up to the back of Alex now. And it's all aboard the Toby train down to 8th. As dropping down the order is Cal slightly as... There goes Scher, inside, outside. What a bit of driving from the Aston Martin. He was 13th. He was last out of these 4 cars. Now he's ahead of them all, and he's up in a P10. As we have yellows, Toby has lost it on the exit of the final corner. I was thinking someone might do that at some point this race, and unfortunately, what a great start has turned very bad for him. And now Scher spies an opportunity to gain another place. Toby doesn't look like he's going to fight it. As Scher around the outside, using those hards to great effect. Scher, 13th last lap, 9th this lap. Fantastic stuff from Branko. And now Toby's got to get on with it. He might have a bit of wing damage, actually. Yes, he does. He's missing his right end plate. Cal versus Sasha once again. But Sasha stays in front for now. Oh, Scher! That was so close to him being out of the Australian Grand Prix. His front wing is so covered in dust and dirt right now. But he's trying to pull away from those behind. Also a yellow light for Sasha and Scher. And, well, quite a few people. Martin and Eggy and Cookster and Alec. We didn't see all this at the start. Even Dello's light has gone. So, very interesting stuff as just fighting absolutely everything. Now, between the 2 Ferraris, Cookster has been on an absolute charge so far this race. Down the inside goes drifting. Doesn't give his teammate any space. And he stays in front because of that. So, what will be said about that? Ferrari Civil War, and it's already only round 1. As drifting, holding up his teammate. Cookster's been on an absolute charge since the opening lap when he dropped outside the points to now be on the doorstep of P4. This has been a brilliant run from Cookster. Remember, his race pace has been one of his most weak factors that's left him be best of the rest and not been able to challenge this season round. He's trying to change that, but that was very much elbows out from drifting. He went deep into the corner on the inside, left no room for Cookster. And he stays in front for now. I wonder what will be said about that. Because Eggy and Martin and Fnatic are right on the back of these guys as they're letting the top 3 break away. As Scher is also nearly broken away. Yellows. And that is for... Oh, it's for Toby again. Such a shame how his race has transpired here. He's not even that far ahead of Callum now, as that's the other... as we see the swap for the 2 Ferraris. Cookster's now ahead of drifting. And inside, outside. Eggy, no way. To the inside. Both Ferraris. Through goes the Mercedes. But Cookster will be fighting back at the Mercedes. This is a great scrap. Alex just has to watch it unfold. Down the inside, around the outside. Good racing between the Merc and the Ferrari. Who will prevail? It looks like Cookster will ahead. Eggy tried the inside, outside on both Ferraris. It worked momentarily, but Cookster fought back. And this is fantastic as Martin all over the back of Drifting now, who's just falling a bit further behind. Martin with a whole battery to use if he needs to. And Cookster will now have the yellow. And Eggy will try and fight back. But yeah, huge fight for fourth. That was huge. Eggy, who is one of the best overtakers in the field, showing what he can do. But battery is so important now. Drifting, probably one of the latest on the brakes. And he gets the move done. Fair play to Cookster. And there's Martin pushing Cookster, Drifting ahead into the corner. Get on with it. And he has done now. Good move from Drifting there. That was so committed on the brakes to get ahead. And Ferrari maintain their 4th and 5th formation. Out in front. No changes yet. They're all just waiting for one another. It's lap 12. I'm surprised no one actually pulled the trigger a bit early there. Eggy still finding away with Drifting. But Drifting will stay in front for now. 16, 22. We'll see who blasts, who has a good exit and whatnot. They're all blasting. But is there going to be any sort of movement? Not quite. So we'll look back to the front. Is any of them going to blink first? Lap 12 to 13. This is usually an ideal lap to pit, but they're all staying out. Interesting. Very interesting. Could that have been a moment where they could have potentially had an undercut? There's a bit of fighting here for P10 on track. Sasha stays in front of Jack for now. Who's in? Whoa, what a Ferrari are Ferrariing. What is going on? They are both stacking. Drifting is going to absolutely lose out here. This is not real life, I promise. It's a game. But what? Cookster. Drifting could... Surely Drifting saw Cookster heading in. Surely he would back out last second, but no. He has followed him in. I guess Cookster got priority. He was the guy ahead. But Eggy and Martin fighting away there for position. As the top three carry it on. Papaya, dark blue, white and black. Any sort of movement though? Not quite. Grush still again with barely any battery. Could Dello get in front, or is this his plan? Does he want to stay behind? Wait to see what Grush does as Martin is back in front of Eggy. Martin, yeah, he's ahead of Eggy, but Dello doesn't quite get ahead of Grush just yet. So is this what benefits Yannick and Dello? Do what Grush does, or do the opposite? Surely they'll pit this lap as Eggy back in front of Martin, and there is Fnatic also fighting away, but he can't quite get the move. Who's pitting? Grush and Yannick. Break for the pit lane. It's actually quite a difficult one with the walls. Dello stays out then. As these two make sure they don't speed. All well and good. Eggy and Martin follow them in. Fnatic stays out like we expected. So they're onto the hard compound tyres. Yannick comes out behind the Papaya. And where will they come out in response to the others? Schur is crossing the line now. He sees Yannick. He sees Grush into turn one. Oh, it's going to be close. It's so close, but Schur is ahead of both of them. Could this cost Grush and Yannick? Could Dello potentially benefit from this? How quickly can Grush get past Schur? Well, it's not going to happen at this stage. And with Schur planting it in none, look how much he's holding them up. Look how much Yannick's all over the back of Grush. This is certainly going to help Dello. This was the lap where they're supposed to push and not be overcut by Dello, but they have been hurt in the first sector. Now they'll get past Schur and blast away. And could Yannick even get past Grush here? That has certainly not helped them with the traffic. But it looks like Grush will stay ahead, blasting everything to keep in front of Yannick. Now that first half of the lap is done, the second half is crucial. Surely Dello will pit this lap, and he could emerge in the race lead here. He will dive into the pits. 18.6. A pit stop is roughly about 18 seconds. It's going to be close. Look at Alex. He's dropped all the way behind Callum and Eggy and Martin. Even Callum, who made that front wing change, I believe, has managed to get back to his ground where he roughly was. Maybe just still a bit behind. But he's still got another pit stop to make, I'm sure. But anyway, exiting the pit lane. There goes Dello. There goes Grush. And diving into turn one. This is going to be close between the Red Bull and the McLaren. There's contact. He goes into the grass. And Yannick trying to avoid Grush, gives the place back, but he has to watch out for Yannick. Where can he go? Inside, outside. Dello hangs on to the lead, and Yannick is ahead of Grush now. Drama, as they've all made their pit stop, and they'll be fighting to the end. But that could have ended in absolute tears, and it pretty much did have a few scary moments there. That was very close to one spinning, one going off. But it looks like Grush admitted some fault there. He's let Dello back through, so I believe it should be okay. And now Yannick is benefiting from this because he's ahead of the Papaya, but Dello now has 1 lap fresher tyres, is the new up-and-coming tyre whisperer. And now he sets his sight on trying to win, but Yannick wants to win a race in Tier 2. Dello's won 2 last season in the second half. Grush has won 3 last season, throughout the whole season. Yannick still yet to win. He's had, I think, 5 or so podiums of seconds and thirds. And these 3 certainly should be the podium for today. They've certainly earned it. But we'll see. Fnatic has gone more than half the race distance on the more worn tyre. What is going on? I know he would do this, but I don't know if it's a bit too much now. Anyway, Sure, you'd expect, has gone more than half race distance on the more durable tyre. Him and Sasha, as Cookster was caught up to the debutant. With Callum under pressure from Martin and Eggy, and Alex unfortunately has fallen behind. Again, just I don't know why they double stacked, as you can see a lot of the order in a bit of a train there. So we've only lost 1 driver from this race, and it was Bluey on the opening lap, who went off at turn 3. He just went straight on. I don't really know why. No swaps between Dello, Yannick and Grush just yet. You'd expect Fnatic to be in this lap. Poisonous goal with a second time penalty. And looks like Dello's looking pretty confident at the moment to keep a good gap ahead of Yannick. They're coming up to the blue detection point of 1 second. But Yannick keeping well within that as Cookster ahead of Sasha. Looked like a good move for the Ferrari, trying to get back up to P4. This would be a great result for Cookster. Never been on the podium, so I guess P4 would be his best ever result in Tier 2. I think his best ever result is 5th. I can't actually remember him ever being 4th. So the fact that Cookster started, 5th or 6th, dropped down to 12th or 13th, and is currently P4 after all the pit stops. This has been a brilliant charge from the Ferrari. And now Sasha's under pressure from Callum and Martin. Martin all over the back of the Audi. This way, that. Down the inside goes the Aston Martin. And now he spies a gap on the Haas. Can he go around the outside? Loses the car. Plants it. What a bit of driving from the Aston, who just keeps, I think, within the confines. And he's back up into 6th. Good stuff as Callum is stuck behind Sasha on aging tyres compared to those around. But Sasha's on even worse. So now Eggy's getting held up. He needs to get on with it. 1%, no percent, bit of momentum blocking there. Now it's Eggy's chance. Round the outside, easy as you like for one of the most experienced and best drivers in the field. Eggy, double move once again. So Dubs with another time pen. The top 3 are the top 3 now. Fnatic came out in P11. So with a bit of a tyre offset to those ahead, 3, 4 or so laps. Let's see what he can do. Let's see how far he can chase down. As we see, fighting away, as Jack gets a penalty. Round the outside goes Callum, who's been very annoyed, I'm sure, with Sasha, considering everyone managed to get through and he couldn't because of, obviously, his tyres not being as good. He's finally done it. And now Alex, for the first time, will see blue. And he will close up to these guys and try and get back in the fight. But Fnatic will be trying to overtake all of these guys all the way up to Cookster. Sure will pit soon anyway. Same with Sasha, as it looks like Drifting's got the move there done. Pretty easy. Top 3 still keeping close to one another, but there's a difference between staying in the pack and actually making the moves. And it looks like Grush is, losing out a little here because he's already out of battery. Yannick pretty low. Well, Dello is low as well, so never mind. But you have that sense that Grush might just be missing out at the moment. He did this in the early stages of the race as, oh my god, it's 3 wide nearly between the 2 Aston Martins. Sure ahead of his teammate, and there's Cookster under pressure. Martin has got ahead of Cookster, and now Sure moves out the way to let his teammate go, and Martin has managed to perfect that perfectly. Sure, elbows out, making Cookster have to rethink where he can go. And that's a great bit of team play from the Aston Martins. Sure parks the bus and Martin is ahead of Eggy. He's ahead of Cookster now. And now he's up in a P4 on debut. Sure has done his work. And will he pit? No, he'll stay out for one more lap. Absolutely park it still to give Cookster no chance. I'm sure he's not going to be happy with that as Callum has retired from the race, unfortunately. It's Eggy all over the back of Cookster. Will he go to the inside? Yes, he will. Down the inside on Scher. Shoves him off the track into the grass slightly there. Cookster not at all happy by being held up from Scher, but I'm sure Scher won't be happy with the driving from Cookster. There's Eggy. Fights away round the outside on Cookster. Slight contact between the Ferrari and the Mercedes, but Eggy now maximises on Cookster's frustrations. And Eggy's up into P5 now. So Martin and Eggy making inroads on Cookster, who had a great race up until then, but the Ferrari, I think the colour of his car is the colour of his face right now, of how annoyed he probably might be that the fact that, well, it was just a great bit of team play from Scher, just absolutely parking the bus, didn't really do much wrong, and now drifting has made it a Ferrari sandwich for the Aston, who's still yet to pit. So what I was saying is Grush, we have Aaron retiring in the pit lane as well to become the third retirement of the race. What I was saying is Grush, when he was in third at the first half of the race, he stayed there for a while, built himself back up, got back into the lead. This is going to go all the way down to the wire, hopefully. And any 3-second time penalty for any of these three, it's done. And the other two will fight as Toby now gets a time pen. As Scher now thinks this is the right time to pit, as it looks like Sasha did pit the lap before. As Ferrari are back up into P6 and 7. Fnatic is actually still keeping the gap constant between himself and drifting. You'd think Fnatic would have closed up a bit more to the Ferrari, but he's not. Anyway, 10 to go. The top three, 10 seconds nearly ahead of Martin now. And then Eggy, and then Cookster, who will try and reclaim that P4. Yeah, it was drifting 5th and Cookster 6th. So Cookster's at least got back to where he started. But I'm sure he must have been annoyed to lose those few positions. Cookster, I think, finished 5th in the opening round last season. It was a very strong showing from him. I think he likes this track. As a side-by-side between the RB and the Haas of Sasha and Dubs. Sasha ahead of Gareth. Nathan, it's been a bit of a lonely race. Louis will be closing up to him, I'm sure. Dello, Yannick, Grush, once again, just hanging a bit further back. But, I mean, you look at the battery and you can see why. He's got double these two. It's what I said earlier. The 25 cars, if you're third in a train, you're not going to do anything. The top two, one of them will win. But with 26, it's completely the opposite. If the top two fight enough, third could capitalise, and we could see a perfect example right here. But look at that. Grush has already blasted 50% of that within 3 corners. But again, at this stage, he's still got double. So we'll see what carries on. And now Fnatic has woken up those tyres to be all over the back of drifting, who's not going to just let him through. But Fnatic round the outside of drifting. Can he get the move done? Fnatic with a bit of wheel tapping. Beautiful move from the Williams. Executes it very nicely to get up into 7th. 57 versus 35. He should be able to pull away as there's a swap. And there goes Grush. And he's done exactly what I said. Third to first within one straight. And Grush, with 9 laps to go, is back into the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. I'm sure that felt good to blast absolutely everything. Dello did the same, but it wasn't enough. Grush absolutely swept past the pair of them, and now it's Dello and Yannick's turn to fight back at that. And that is, well, these cars in a nutshell. That was great. So the gap hits 10 seconds now between the top 3 to Martin, and it looks like him and Eggy will be fighting. Cookster just can't quite get close enough, and Fnatic will try to reel them in. We got yellows, and that is... Who was that? Was that... I have no idea, actually. Anyway, Scher's come out in P11. He's within 6 seconds of Jack, so that means Scher on Tier 2 debut should be looking to get points. Everyone around him has penalties. Cal, at the moment, is leading that kind of big train from 9th onwards, as it was 4th to 8th fighting for their places. So Cal, on return to McLaren, looking confident for some good points. Fnatic 2.3 to Cookster. Cookster closing it slightly to Eggy, 1.3 from 1.7. Let's look to the front now, because this is the straight where everything will happen. towards the end of the race. As well, we'll look quickly back because Jack and Cal have had a moment there, I think, because through goes Scher on the pair of them. Don't know what happened there, but Scher has capitalised, and now he takes ninth away from Cal. Looks like nothing happened at the front anyway. So Scher making moves, showing why the experience matters, and he's ahead of Cal, who now has to hold on to 10th. I mean, can Scher close that massive gap to drifting? We'll see. Top three, though, nose to tail. All with pretty decent amounts of battery. They know this is going to be a huge fight to the end of the race. And do we see any sort of movement? Yannick has to pressure Dello into Grush. But they've been driving beautifully so far this race. Christian with a time pen. Down in P11. So Nathan, I mean, as much as he's a bit on his own, he has at least been clean. He's the only driver outside the top 10 to not get a pen, so that's nice. Looks like Scher isn't really making much inroads on drifting. He was sticking with Fnatic pretty nicely. Closing to Cookstu, who's actually lost a second to Eggy, who's nearly outside of a second and doesn't have the blue, to Martin, who's closed half a second to the top guys. But that's not going to matter. The lap's ticking down this way and that. We're on the straight once again. Oh, just like that. 40, 11, 0. Yannick knows it's his time to strike now. Grush, I believe, a 3-time winner. Dello, a 2-time winner. Yannick wants to win, but here we go. Is Dello close enough? He won't think about a move just yet. He'll back off and go one more time. As there's a fight. Louis, Dubs, Nathan ahead. Alex. Oh, and Fnatic. What's happened to Fnatic? He's had a moment there. Whether that was with Alex or as Alex letting him through. So there must have been a moment between the pair of them where Alex caused something. He's been very aggressive today and maybe one too many times. Stuff like that has happened. And it looks like 8th will be where he finishes now. Scher should gain quite a lot. 17 will go down to what? 15? 14? Something like that, especially around here. So that frees up Fnatic, but that has kind of cost Fnatic a chance of getting any higher. But respect to Drifting for letting him back through. Eggy lapping pretty even with with Martin. They're both are called Martin. Martin lapping pretty similar to these three. As once again we're on the straight, and once again they're pretty close. 45, 30, 10. So Dello spies a gap to retake the lead of the Australian Grand Prix round the outside. Not blasting everything. Grush is, but he can't quite fight back with Dello. Yellows at the back. I believe that was Jack falling down to 14th. And oh, we have a virtual safety car. So they'll all be able to recharge their battery up to 100%. And Dubs gets a 10-second penalty. What? Dubs is out. Oh, we have a safety car. We have a safety car at the end of the race. What on earth has transpired at the back of the field? Jack, Dubs, Louis. Everyone's going to be on the lead lap. They're all in. We have an end of race safety car, as if this race wasn't crazy enough. They're all going to pit. It's a no-brainer. Does anyone decide to stay out? No, you'd assume they're all going to pit for softs. Cooks is in. Fnatic will be in. Or will he stay out? I was going to say, of anyone, he would probably be the most highest risk to stay out. Drifting, he may as well free pit stop as well. So, that has completely changed it. That brings Martin into play. That brings Eggy into play. It's not just these three. Wow. So we have a safety car at the end of the race. The latest it can come in is lap 27 onto 8. We're on lap 25. It might come in at the end of next lap, and we will get a 3-lap shootout. Dello, I'm sure he's feeling happy right now because he overtook Grush, and then the safety car, or virtual, came out just a bit after that. And now they can all recharge to 100%. Any fuel concerns, absolutely gone. If you run out of fuel now, you're just stupid. So, we have 4 laps to go, and a few of them will be under safety car as they start to catch the train. Christian is on 11 lap-old hards, so he stayed out, I believe. Scher pitted, Alex pitted, and he's behind Scher. Did Alex change his front wing? Either way, Scher's gained another place in this race. Cal is now outside the top 10, but Penn's ahead. That should help. Sasha's gone for mediums. Interesting. Everyone will be on the lead lap. Whether everyone will catch the train by the end of the safety car period, that's another question. I have no idea what happened at the back, whether Jack and, I don't know, Louis and Dubs or whatnot happened, but that's completely changed the course of this race, and now we're going to have a shootout at the end. This has been some season opener. So we're going to move on to lap 26, and the top 8 have joined the pack. You should expect this time next lap for at least down to 13 to join, but it's these 3 at the back, Jack, Nathan and Louis, who will either make the safety car stay out for one more lap, or they will just not simply catch the train. So let's see, the top 7 have been marvellous in terms of penalties, absolutely none to any of their names. Christian with 6, Sher has also been very well treated within track limits to be on none, so he could see a P8 here. Remember, he started, what was it, 14th. And Christian, well, he has stayed out, but he's up 6 places. And Alex, on return, it's been a bit iffy here and there. Been some good moments, been some bad moments, but right now with a 3 sec, it's not looking great to be any higher than 9th. The double stack, the incidents, but there's been some good battles and overtakes. So Cal trying to fight for this point. Toby, it's actually given him a bit of a lifeline too, even with a 3. After not the greatest of second halves of the race, he was great in the first, one of the stars to get up to 4th, and he could have been right up there. But now he's trying to salvage a point or 2. So Dello just needs to make sure, like I said, 1 lap later, it's down to these 3 to see if they can catch the train. But Dello just needs to make sure on the restart he keeps at constant speed. He doesn't speed up, slow down, cause anything behind, gets on with it, and we will have a 3-lap shootout to decide the winner of the opening round of the 13th season of EXFL Tier 2. Dello hurrying the safety car up. He wants to get this underway. We could have been probably saying, and who wins the Grand Prix by now? But it looks like the safety car will be going for 1 more lap, meaning we will have a 2-lap shootout at the end of the race, because Jack, Nathan and Louis have not caught the train yet. So we'll have lap 28 and 9 to decide this. Grush, Yannick keeping their temps in their tyres. These 3 deserve the podium today, but we know how shootouts can be at the end after a safety car. Anything is up for grabs. What you've done before is completely out the window. It's only down to this. This is the bit that matters. How much are they willing to give? Who's going to blast everything on the penultimate? Who's going to blast everything on the final? Will it be all down to battery? Will it be down to talent, the tyres, the pace, the confidence? What can Martin do? Because he was lapping pretty similar. Can he finish on the podium on his debut in Tier 2? 4 drivers making their Tier 2 debut today, officially. Martin in 4th, Sher in 9th, Sasha in 13th, and Aaron has retired in P18. We've lost Bluey, Callum, Aaron and Gareth. There must have been a bit of an incident behind with Jack or Nathan or Louis or even Dubs because he's out of the race. But the safety car, like expected, is going to reel off into the pit lane and Dello will begin the restart. All a level playing field now. This all comes down to who is the best. Dello's in the best seat possible for the restart. And he'll gear up, get the temp in his tyres. And Grush, Dello and Yannick, who have fought all race and all deserve this podium, all deserve the victory, are now going to have to give it 101%. Full guns blazing if they want to win this. Louis, penalty with Nathan. Bit of contact there at the back. But when will Dello decide to go? 2 corners left then before we resume and finish this race. Dello's gone then, and he's got quite a nice gap ahead of Grush as we exit the final corner then. It's Dello from Grush, Yannick, Martin close behind, Eggy close behind, Cookster, Fnatic, Christian, Sher and Alex to round out the top 10. So diving into turn 1 then, single file. Looks like Dello's got on with it. Dello had that 1 lap advantage on his hard compound tyres. It's all out the window now as Christian has already lost ground because he's on those hard compound tyres. Scher's up to 8th then. No sort of movement yet. Single file. It's when we get to the straights that business will be interesting as Dello is still getting on with it. And it looks like Grush is not close enough. Yannick not close enough either. So they're still quite separated. But this is the part that's interesting. Who will blast and who will save? They're pretty even at the moment. Grush is blasting a bit more than Dello. So Dello holding on. They're all yellow, remember. It'll only be the last lap that we get some blue. As fighting away, Sasha and Alex on Scher. Alex ahead of Scher now. Sasha ahead of Cal. Fnatic not close enough to Cookster, who's all over the back of Eggy. Is he going to send it to the inside? Yes, he will. The Ferrari on the Mercedes gets it stopped. Good move from Cookster to be into the top 5. But now that lets the top 4 be very close to one another. But in fact, Dello has got on with it. He's looking really racy at the restart to nearly break a second to Grush. It's going to have to be a mega lap from Grush. But it looks like with the fuel, with the battery, it might not be enough. He could even come under pressure from Yannick, who's coming under pressure from Martin. Dello doing everything possible, but now he's out of battery too. They're both out of battery. Yannick's got a little. Martin's got plenty more. We're on the final lap of the Australian Grand Prix. Dello, at the moment, has done everything he possibly can. The top 2 from qualifying swapped around after so many battles, so many swaps, so many close moments, especially when Dello exited the pit lane. Yannick has been right there all along with. But now it's the final blast and Grush is nowhere near close enough to Dello, who looks like he's done enough. But what about Yannick? Can he close up? What about Martin? Can he take this podium away from Yannick on the final lap of the race? Martin, Yannick, who's going to merge? Round the outside goes Martin on debut to take Yannick's podium away on the final lap. Yannick will fight this back though. Martin goes defensive. Yannick breaks late. Can he go around the outside of the Aston? Contact. Yannick's done it. He's got back in front. Bit of contact though, but Yannick's done it. He would not give up and let that podium slip away. He's done great for 3rd. Grush has done everything he can for 2nd. But out in front, Dello starts the season off brilliantly. It's going to be a win down under for Red Bull. Dello wins the Australian Grand Prix. Grush comes home in 2nd. Yannick completes the podium. Fair and square. These 3 deserved the top 3 places. Martin, Eggy, Cookster, who lost out to Eggy at the end there after getting ahead of him on the penultimate lap. Fnatic 7th, Drifting 8th, I believe, or maybe with a pen 9th. Scher's in the points as well. What a race to start the season off. Yeah, Drifting was 9th, so Scher got P8 on his debut in Tier 2. Great stuff to see. And I believe the final point would have gone to Cal. So very well done to that. Bit of wheel barging between Yannick and Martin. I don't really know where Yannick could have else gone, really. So I think that'll be okay. Yannick was... at the time, I was thinking... Even though neutral-wise, I was thinking, no, Yannick, you've got to get that podium back. You've driven brilliantly to be in the top 3 race. To lose it on the last lap would be horrible. And he didn't falter, and he got it back. Dello defies the laws of physics. And he will be one very happy man to have won the season opener of Tier 2. What a brilliant season opener that was. That's one of the best I think I've ever seen in the league. Red Bull on top then. And, well, Samurai, his teammate, we'll see that. On the one hand, he'll be happy for the team. On the other hand, he knows he's got some work to do now. 25 points behind that man. But these 3 were the class of the field today. And Martin, he had to make his way through the field after qualifying that probably set him back a little. Oh, don't do this with the stupid black screen. But I hope you all enjoyed that race. That was thoroughly entertaining. We can into Yannick and Grush at least. Dello might have to be Discord or something. But yeah, I can't wait to interview them. It's not going to give us the thingy, is it? It's been great the last couple games, but this DLC, for some reason, just will not show. Come on, we need... Okay, well, I guess that's good enough. Stupid game. Anyway, let's get the top 3 in. Yannick. Grush. Dello. There we go. We have the top 3 joining the party now. Grush is first to join. I'm sure Yannick will join in a minute. Dello might have to be, like I said, separate. Alright, let's for the first time head to the 26 car showroom. Alright, Grush, are you there, mate? Hello? My mic, I think my mic has gone a bit weird. My overlay's just staying on. Party's going weird. Nice one, Xbox. Stupid thing. I'm sweating so much and I didn't even race. And now the party's just... there we go. Hang on. Hopefully this works. I've got to say, the stupid party's going all weird. Right, I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to end the stream, and then I'm going to have to make a new stream, and then I'm going to have to spend an hour editing them to put them together. But for now, that has been, if my audio is still even included, that has been the Australian Grand Prix. I will start a new stream in a minute. I just have to restart my Xbox, which will obviously end the stream. Well done to the top 3, and I'll interview them in a few minutes. Just give me a sec. Just wait for the game to load. There we go. All right. So we're back for the interviews. We have the top 3 in the race, in the party right now. Grush, are you there, mate?
Yeah.
Have you included your audio?
I have.
Perfect. Yannick, are you there, mate?
Yeah.
Have you included your audio?
I have.
Great. And Dello, are you there, mate?
Yeah.
Have you included your audio? Cool. All right. I guess I'll go 3, 2, 1 because I think Dello's got like some echoing thing. It might be better to do Discord for him, but anyway, we'll start off with Yannick then. So let's go to Cadillac. EXFL's newest team, the 11th for the first time, has got a podium on debut, and it didn't come easy. Yannick, what a race from you, mate. All 3 of you, I was saying throughout the race, all 3 of you definitely should be the top 3 because you've thoroughly earned it. But last couple laps of after the safety car, it all goes out the window completely, and that was quite nerve-wracking. So yeah, Yannick, it was a P3 quali start and a P3 in the race at the end. Just take us through your thoughts as the race transpired. What was the plan, and how did it unfold in terms of what you wanted to happen, what you thought was a bit out of your control, and just how happy are you with the result?
Well, I'm definitely happy with the results, and in terms of the race, I quickly realized when we 3 just went away that I like to be the last car of the groups and try to play the long-term game to hopefully have the most battery at the end to then hopefully gain a position or 2. But yeah, then the safety car came out and it threw a bit of a spanner in the works, and I was also hoping then at the end to do a similar thing by not deploying that much in the first lap and maybe Tello and Cruz would, but then I had Martin behind me who immediately started deploying his ERS to try to overtake me, so I had to do the same. And then, yeah, it was quite hard to stay with Cruz and Dello and have a chance. But all in all, happy that I still finished on the podium of that safety car and that I seem to have the pace to fight for wins maybe this season.
Yeah, exactly. That first win will 100% be coming, and it's great to see. You've made a right step up. You were looking really good in the off-season, pre-season social races, so it's great to see that's continued on. That you are definitely fighting for these poles and wins now. There was swapping going on between you three all race, and I was saying, literally, it was perfect timing. The lap when Grush was third of the three of you, and I said, from last season's cars to this season's cars, third being useless last year to now being maybe the best position to be in. And Grush did exactly that when he overtook the pair of you. And then Dello got ahead of Grush, and then the safety car came out. If something went this way and that, just a little different, one lap less, one lap more, one overtake more, we could have had a completely different reshuffle of the podium. So um, it is what it is. It's racing, but thank you to you three for giving us such a great show. And yeah, well done today, Yannick. You're making that step up, like I said, from last season to this season. So carry it on, and I can't wait to see what you can achieve this season.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to P2 Grush. So starting the season off, let's look at the positives. A brilliant, absolutely brilliant pole position to be the first pole man of the season. How was that lap? How was qualifying in general for you? You looked so dialed in.
Yeah, just I mean, I messed about with my setup before race just to, fine tune it, and I just must have got it bang on because that last lap, I kept improving every lap, and that last one just came together. One lap that just absolutely nailed every corner and stuff. So, yeah, really, really impressed with that lap, monster lap.
It was a fantastic lap. The only man into the 1 minute 17s. Every person was improving. Fastest lap, fastest lap. And then it was a big battle between you and Yannick, and Dello appeared right at the end there. And then you just went even quicker. You did once again, like you did a lot of last season, you do two runs at the end on the same set. So you do a first run, and you're right in the mix, and then right at the end you come back again just to go even quicker. It's absolutely brilliant. And then the race, the start was actually a bit similar to your starts last season, where you led pretty alright, and then maybe dropped down a few places, but then you fought back through. And then there was a really good part, like I was saying to Yannick, where you were third towards the end and overtook the pair of them with the battery. I just caught the end of that. It was brilliant. What are your thoughts overall on the race, though? Are you a bit maybe disappointed to just lose out on the win there, or are you happy that you managed to at least hold on to P2?
No,
Just what was the race like for you?
it was a phenomenal race. Like you say, we're constantly switching positions, battling. So strategic this year. The regs are totally different, so it's all about battery management. But hats off to Dello, Yannick. They seem to pull battery out of nowhere. I'm charging. I'm feeling like I've got, some good pace and that, and then, all of a sudden I look in the rearview mirror and they're just getting closer and closer. So, I'm having to, extend. Coming in early. If we wouldn't have been caught maybe behind the Aston a little bit, I might have been just be able to just in get in front of Yannick Dello. Do apologise for the early turning and the contact. I pulled over just to let him through so that it didn't miss because he did have the corner. I thought I could get it before him, but no, the timing was it just appalling, really. But yeah, late safety car. Dello just managed to get past me just in time and just playing catch up from there, really. I didn't know what to do on that first lap. Should I take over and deploy my battery or just hold back and maybe save it for the end and that. In the end up, I had in between bit. I deployed as much as I thought I needed, but just didn't have enough for that final lap.
Yeah, that's fully understandable. I think, yeah, when I was observing you throughout the whole race, I think you did have probably the least throughout the most, but there were some times when you were third, you did have at times double the amount of what Yannick and Dello had. So it was very. I think whoever was third usually had the most, and when you were in the lead, you obviously had the least.
Yeah.
And then whoever was second could either have maybe a little less than first or maybe a bit more, but never really as much as third. So it did all swap a little bit. But yeah, you managed to come home for P2. Obviously, you won the season opener last season, fighting away with the RB of Finn, but that was more penalty based. Today, I'm sure it was very stressful fighting with two people for the win.
Yeah.
You three were the class of the field, and obviously, people like Samurai will be returning next week after missing today, to toss his hat into the ring of those who can fight. Obviously, it's round one. We are the longest way away from the end of the season, but I have a good feeling that you three are going to be up here, and I'm going to be interviewing you three quite a lot. I remember saying this to you last season, and yeah, what came was quite a few great wins and polls, quite a lot of polls and podiums. But after joining the league a year ago, finishing around, I think it was 8th or 9th in your first season, making the big step up to third, I think it's quite obvious that the step up now needed is, I know it's only round one, but is the target the championship?
Yeah, 100% this year. Target is the championship. I've just got to stay in the mix consistently and, make sure that I'm fighting for podiums every race.
Exactly what I wanted to hear. Fantastic stuff. Well done today. Great strong showing, and we'll see you next week in China. So on to the race winner, Dello. You can unmute yourself now, mate. Hopefully the
what do you call it?
What do you call it? The
Yeah, I can hear.
I can hear myself, but it doesn't matter.
Hang on, right?
So
I'll
Dello,
mute myself until you finish.
okay, all right, cheers, mate. So Dello, you have won the opening round of the season, the Australian Grand Prix, your third win now in EXFL Tier 2 in a brilliant display of driving. It was so close here and there between Grush and Yannick. How was the race for you? How much did you enjoy it, and how happy are you with the result?
Yeah, I mean, the race was amazing. I mean, all three of us just put on a great show. It was never me versus one other person, or it was always all three of us in the fight. It could have went either way. The safety car did I mean, you'd expect the safety car to be more of a shootout between us three, but no, I think that took the sting out of it a little bit because it was quite lucky I actually overtook Grush just before it came out. If I didn't get the overtake just before, maybe Grush would have won. He probably would have just drove off like I did after the safety car. But yeah, I'm happy the top three finished how it did as well, because considering us three were like 8 seconds clear before pit stops or any safety car, we were yeah, it could have one of us could have had an incident after the safety car. So yeah, it was a really good race from us, and yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. There was a little moment heading out of the pit lane when obviously Grush and Yannick pitted the lap before, and you came out. Grush, I want to bring you back in just as well for this. We'll just get your thoughts on it first, Stella. What exactly happened from your POV?
So I've just obviously when Yannick and Grush boxed, I knew I had to like push really hard on the next lap just to minimize any loss. So I guess I've done that, and I don't know if they were held up as well or battling during their outlap. But yeah, obviously coming out of the pits, me and Grush are basically side by side, kind of, and yeah, we just sort of misjudge it. But I don't think there's any malice in it from either of us because, we drove 29, 27 laps without contact, and yeah, so it was just a small little incident. It did send Grush onto the grass, which was unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, and
Grush heading into turn one. You obviously went off, but you decided to let Della go, which was a very respectable thing to do. So I'm guessing both of you are still, as we saw for the rest of the race, all still well and good. Just a little like you said, miss attempt to the corner.
Yeah, just again, I can't apologise enough. I appreciate the sportsmanship from Della. It just turned it too early, way too early. Thought I had the corner, thought I could come across, carry the speed, but yeah, just turning way too early. I'm glad it didn't result in anything worse. Just a coming together, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the best thing. You both managed to carry on with it. And yeah, Dello, when Grush and Yannick pitted, they got held up a lot in Sector 1 from the Aston. So they had to clear him quite quickly. So yeah, they would have been maybe a second clear of you if they came out in clear air. But that's what made it so close. But yeah, you were talking about the final 2 laps, Dello, if Grush was in your position, but you really put the hammer down in those last 2 laps to absolutely make it, well, it pretty much was a second heading into the last lap, and Grush, I think, had a bit less than you, so it was kind of a done deal. So you drove brilliantly. After winning the social race last week in Austria, after a brilliant bit of tyre management, you've put the hammer down today, and for the first time ever, you lead the Tier 2 championship after the first race. So, if Grush says he's going for the championship, I know you certainly are going for the championship, and I'm assuming and hoping that Yannick will be as well. Final question to all 3 of you. I'll start with you, Dello. How are you looking forward to China next week? Returning, of course.
Well, unfortunately, I won't be there, but I'm sure these 2 will bring on a great battle. I know Samurai's coming back as well, so maybe he can take my place and fight at the front with these 2. Yeah, it's a shame I can't actually hear what they're saying, but yeah.
Oh. Well, Grush is thanking you for being respectful and whatnot, like with the bit at turn 1. So just great sportsmanship and whatnot. But yeah, that's very surprising. So one Red Bull appears when the other misses out and wins. So next week, I guess Samurai's got a job to do if you want. So if Grush and Yannick can't hit Dello, I think they can. But yeah, Dello saying he's not racing next week, so that's throwing a spanner in the works. So that's a big opportunity for Grush and Yannick. Grush, then, how are you looking forward to China next week then?
Even better now, looking at hearing that news. Yeah, yeah, just another kind of prepare for it and just see, where deployment's best, and just realistically, just try to get in the mix again, get some podiums, and be competitive. It's a good track for me. I enjoy it, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Ooh, okay then. So game on. And Yannick, how are you looking forward to China next week?
Well, I'm actually also not sure if I can race, but if I do race, I think I won't be that competitive because I was actually glad it was not on the calendar previous season. So it's always been one of my worst tracks. So I'll have to see how that goes if I can race.
Okay, that's very understandable. So one who's maybe on the back foot, we'll see what they can do. One who's very confident and looks like he'll be able to pick up from what he just missed out on today, and one who's not even turning up. So already spanners begin for this season, but it's the very early stages, and this time in 10, 15, 20 weeks, there could be so many twists and turns like there were today. It's been some season opener. Well done to Dello on winning. Well done to Grush on second. And actually, I'll quickly just throw it back. One final question to Yannick. That final lap where you were holding onto that podium, how much of you was just thinking, I have been in the top 3 all race, I'm not about to lose it now? And that brilliant fight back after Martin cleared you on the straight to that brilliant late braking outside overtake at the end. Just take us through that real quick, Yannick.
Yeah, of course, all I was thinking was I want to be on the podium after that race. And yeah, I saw it coming when I was on, I think, 0%. And then I quickly realized I just have to lift and coast here to have enough battery for the next straight. And then I really just had to send it because I didn't want to lose that podium. And luckily it did work out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what racing's all about. Give it absolutely everything. And that was a great bit of last lap driving to reclaim the podium. So yeah, what a story for the first race of the season. That has been it. We will see you in 1 week's time at the Chinese Grand Prix, the return of China for the first time in a year and a half. And we'll see who's got the muscle memory, who even here has done an EXFL Tier 2 Chinese Grand Prix. I don't think even half the grid has. So it's going to be a very unique experience, and we'll see you then in 7 days' time.